Ah, the power of friendship. The very thing that fuels the resolution in 90% of current animations, and no one's complaining. When it comes to the different shapes this power of friendship can take, there's, to use my favorite word, quite a plethora. While I'll be focusing on the found family trope, there are plenty more. The ragtag team with one brain cell between them, the bland main boy and his two best friends, enemies to friends frenemies to enemies to friends to lovers, the sibling bond type friendships, actual sibling friendships, unlikely friendships, friendships where they didn't really like each other at first and you're not sure when it happened, but now they're like BFFs. Growing up, a lot of the cartoons I watched didn't delve too deeply into themes of friendship. Friends were simply there so the show had more characters. I never watched Fairly Odd Parents and thought, wow, the bond Timmy shares with Chester and AJ is truly remarkable. And it really didn't have to be. If a show's main theme isn't friendship, that's completely okay. Although I do think Timmy had a found family of sorts with Cosmo and Wanda, and I guess later that irrelevant baby and talking dog, but I jumped ship by that point. Recently, cartoons have abandoned the setup of shows like Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy Neutron in favor of more narrative plots and deeper themes. Sure, shows like Gumball are still episodic, but even they, at times, convey deeper themes of friendship beneath social commentary and humor. As the cartoons I deem the Netflix era are born, not all of which are Netflix, but most of which foster the same energy, the norm has shifted so that even episodic shows have at least some overarching plot. Maybe kids like that more, or maybe the cartoons I was raised on were plot-driven too and I just didn't notice. Or maybe it's because a lot of people in their adult years, like me, build their entire personalities around cartoons and it's pandering. The relevance? This isn't a set rule, but it's more common for episodic shows to not focus on friendship on a deeper level. Take Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go, for example. And first, let me say I am a defender of Teen Titans Go. I do prefer the older show, sure, but the new one is funny and it's for kids, so I'm not going to try to cancel it for 6 years straight.
I use my cybernetics to see, but would I then not lose my humanity?
Robin, there is something I need to tell you.
Not now. We have a job to do.
Also, the movie was fucking hilarious. Either way, we can't ignore that this first series, while episodic, still had much more overarching plot, whereas the reboot is strictly episodic, meaning less stakes and development. Where has this left us? The old show stressed friendship and found family, whereas the new one pokes fun at their lack of respect for Robin and relies on humor. Once again, not one focus on friendship is better than the other, but we should acknowledge that they're different, and this difference thrives in the tones the episodic shows take compared to plot-driven shows. So if we look at the original Teen Titans, which has recurring themes but is still more episodic than the current Netflix-era shows, we learn that sometimes a family is a tech-obsessed robot man, his Grinch cosplaying furry best friend, a kind-hearted alien princess warrior, the local OP goth, and a traffic cone-looking edgelord. What I like about Teen Titans is that while the team already exists at the start of the series, their strong relationships don't. Most shows start with a cemented friend group or with a group coming together, but the Titans start somewhere in between. From the start, you can tell which relationships are strained and which come easier. The show, throughout its 5 seasons, develops each character with each of the other characters at least once. Their bonds in episode 1 are vastly different than the final episodes because of these developments. For example, a fan-favorite episode is Switched from season 1, where creepy Puppet King steals the boys' souls and Starfire and Raven end up with their bodies switched. Classic cartoon move. The episode starts with Raven being all reserved and Starfire pushing her to bond, which leaves them butting heads. However, while switched and trying to control each other's powers, Starfire learns that Raven is reserved in order to control her powers, and Raven learns that Starfire's powers rely on her emotions, hence her more boisterous nature. The ending of the episode is cute, with Starfire joining Raven for meditation and Raven inviting Starfire to the mall later. I'm a basic gal, so this friendship is probably my favorite amongst the group. By season 5, we know that the friendship between these 5 is more of like a family, especially since they don't have families themselves, and Demon Daddy is out of the equation. Avatar is less subtextual in this context and more direct, as the series consists of almost only overarching plot. Sometimes a family is an optimistic vegan, the feminist awakening of her childhood, comedic relief turned best boy, the strongest character on the show, the original E-boy, Queen Suki, and 2 sellable plushies. I appreciate that unlike the Titans, each member of Team Avatar has a varying level of family. Katara and Sokka have their DILF as well as each other. Toph has a family, but they don't accept her for who she is, and she has to run away to be with her #found family. Aang had his own family, but now 100 years later,
Sokka and I, we're your family now!
Zuko has his own issues with his dad, to put it lightly, but has always had family in Uncle Iroh. The show demonstrates that family can be good, can be bad, can be complicated, can be anywhere in between, but that the people who support you are your family as well. It shows that friendships can be strained, can be hard, can also transcend lifetimes. The relationships, like in Teen Titans, were for the most part fleshed out individually as well as the lump sum. Like Toph and Katara, for example, who butt heads because of their contradicting personalities. When Sokka has that moment with Toph on the cliff, it's not only a great moment between Toph and Sokka, but between Sokka and Katara and Toph and Katara. 3 birds, 1 stone. Another found family that I love is the core group in Kipo. Sometimes a family is an idealistic furry, a teen boy just trying to get by with his bug BFF, and a 5-year-old with a tragic origin story. Oh, and another sellable plushie. Kipo has a family, but has boundless love to give. Benson and Dave already have a cemented friendship, and Wolf's whole thing is that she scoffs upon the concept of friendship and camaraderie, which, due to her dramatic backstory, makes sense. Wolf comes from a long line of characters who start off with that attitude of, I don't care about anyone, and you, the viewer, immediately know that they're going to be the most caring after the power of friendship thaws their frozen heart. Often this is referred to as the tsundere trope. While I love the whole found family in the show, Wolf's character is the most changed by it. She starts off by swearing she'll drop Kipo as soon as they find her burrow, but she becomes so emotionally attached that she pulls an Aang and hides imperative information for Kipo to find her father. Wolf doesn't do a 180, she's still Wolf, but she's opened up her heart to the group. The episode where they have to act like a pack shows that while Wolf's pack has betrayed her in the past, this won't always be the case. In the Season 2 finale, when everyone gives up on Kipo transforming back from the Mega Jaguar, her dad a little too easily, Wolf is the only one who refuses. She starts singing Heroes on Fire, the squad song, and Benson essentially realizes that the real anchor was the friends we made along the way.
We're the anchor, Dave. We're the anchor. Aw, I like that. That's cute.
Okay, so we have a lot of same-age found families and friendships, but what about something a bit more ragtag? The Owl House is 1 episode away from finishing Season 1. It may already be done by the time this video is out, but let's discuss that. Yeah, Luz has her friends from school, but the core family here is comprised of Luz, Ida, and King. And in my heart, Hootie. Sometimes a family is a rule-breaking MILF, the king of demons, the most relatable 14-year-old in all of animation, and a literal house. What I like here is that most friend or found family groups have the reasonable character, the one with the brain cell. This family just doesn't.
Joke's on you, because Ida isn't stupid enough to fall for your trap. And a guest. Oh, heck.
My brother pointed out to me the other day that while it's nice that each member can be logical at times when the other two can't, and their personalities are complementary this way, I also like that there just really isn't a large source of supervision here. Ida, the adult, is as anti-supervision as they come. King is the type of person who would play a chaotic neutral tiefling who kills NPCs, and Luz is just living her teenage fantasy of being in a witch world, and probably will stay up past their bedtime and eat candy for dinner. In fact, they probably all eat candy for dinner, but I digress. Point is, Luz has a family, her mother, and while she's a strained relationship with her, I do believe that her place in her newfound family will act as a parallel, and in some way or another, Luz will mend her relationship with her mother back home. While I love Willow, Gus, and Amity, the real power of friendship here lies within the Owl House itself. Although I just watched Agony of a Witch, and boy did it take me way too long to realize that this found family doesn't just exist for Luz. Lilith says,
Idolin is finally with her family, her real family.
And I just know everyone watching was making the same face I was. Ida's family isn't the woman who cursed her and is willing to sell her soul to an establishment that suppresses knowledge and power from the people. Boo, Lilith. Boo. Her family is at the Owl House. I love when animation demonstrates that blood ties don't mean shit if there is an actual forged bond to back it up. To be honest, I don't know if they're going to pull a Naruto and therapy jutsu Lilith to the side of good, but I'm excited to see what happens. I think everyone is a sucker for found families because the characters usually meet against all odds and clash in ways that make it seem like a bond is impossible. However, a friendship forms and soon turns into the bond of a family.
Oh, he's friends with both of us! Now we're friends too! By association, we're travel friends!
What? No.
I think this tells viewers that friendships aren't fate. People usually meet by chance, but with the right amount of care, understanding, and effort, love can be born from it. To stray from the found families and discuss well-written friendships in animation, I'll first turn to Glitch Techs, a recent Netflix series that, while it may be a bit more plot-driven, is still mostly episodic. However, like I said before, some episodic shows do still explore the power of friendship. I think it helps that Miko and Five only just meet in episode 1. They quickly bond over their shared love of video games, and when Miko realizes something went weird at the tournament, she immediately goes to Five for help, already trusting him. I don't think their friendship is meant to teach too many lessons or explore too many themes. Rather, I think their friendship is meant to normalize what a healthy friendship looks like. There isn't jealousy, bottled up frustration, weird power dynamics. It's just two kids who fully support each other and get along. Back in the day, I'd fear some nonsense would occur and they'd be forced together as a couple at the series end, but I have enough faith in newer cartoons that this won't happen. Their friendship is just such a great example for kids and even older audiences who are watching, so let's hope. A friendship that works in an opposite way but is still just as well written is Bow and Glimmer from She-Ra. They can fight, experience jealousy, and in season 4, Glimmer was willing to use the crown to control her friends.
But I am still queen. And as queen, I am ordering you. No one is going to be silent.
Not a good look. But the show wasn't normalizing this. The show is implying that even though it's inevitable for friends to mess up and have their tense moments, communication, meaningful apologies, changed behavior, and giving some space can help. Like Bo says,
I get that it's hard being friends sometimes. You gotta work at it.
I like these two too, but it's more because I just love himbos. While I think the handling of Glimmer's character in post-season 4 Redemption is one of the best examples of this, I don't want to shortchange past shows and movies that have also demonstrated that friendship and found family can take effort. In fact, I can't think of many friendships that didn't have their faults. Shows like Foster's Home, Recess, Codename Kids Next Door, heck even SpongeBob, demonstrated that disagreements between people doesn't mean that the friendship is bad. It's normal. It's the resulting behaviors and responses that can define the friendship. So essentially, these current Netflix-era power friendship and believing in yourself shows wouldn't be able to exist without past shows that, even if it was to a lesser degree, explored themes of friendship and endurance. I can lie and pretend this trope was my favorite because of its effects on viewers or larger implications or whatever, but really it's just because I'm a sucker for friendship. It's the best. This is an afterthought, but you know friendship like really reigns supreme is Shrek and Donkey. Like the whole like, oh, I hate you, but like the other person's really enthusiastic, and then the enthusiastic one worms their way into like the cold-hearted one's heart, but instead it's like an ogre and a donkey, and the donkey talks, and they're like onion metaphors. Oh, God, I love good metaphors. And to think an onion. And that is a classic metaphor for friendship now. It stood the test of time. You go, onion metaphor. You go.
Hey, Ruby? Uh-huh. I always wanted bunk beds as a kid.